It wasn't their first time pushing themselves. Ashley Handschke and her fiancé are endurance athletes, regular hikers who live at elevation in Salt Lake City, seasoned runners who have taken on everything from Ragnar relays to full marathons. But this wasn't a mountain. This was the Grand Canyon. And no matter how strong you are, it humbles you. My name is Brian Special, and this is their story.
Hiking Grand Canyon Tales from Below is brought to you by Hiken. Hiking plus kinship. That's Hiken. Join the conversation in our Hiken Grand Canyon Facebook group or at hiken.club. That's Hiken, HIKIN.club.
The pair drove in and hit the North Kaibab Trail at 1:30 a.m. It was May 30th, 2025. The plan was a 2-day rim to rim to rim. North to south today, south to north tomorrow. But the forecast, it was brutal. A projected 108 degrees at the bottom of the canyon. But Ashley had done the research. The Grand Canyon shade tracker, water stops, elevation profiles. She was not winging it. They made it to Phantom Ranch right on time, just before 7:30 a.m. An early lunch, postcards mailed, shirts soaked. They left around 8:40 and started up South Kaibab. That's almost 6 hours after the start time that we would recommend from the bottom on a hot day. Just over 2 steep miles later, they were at tip-off, and the reality really set in. They still had 4.5 miles and more than 3,000 vertical feet to go, and the sun was already high and hot and beating down relentlessly. They pushed through the heat, forcing down snacks and salt. Even when water sounded repulsive, Ashley drank. She knew what she needed. They surfaced at 12:50 p.m., a brutal experience that left them questioning everything. That night, they weren't sure they'd attempt day 2. But sleep has a way of changing things. So does stretching. And so does food. They woke up at 2:30 a.m. on May 31st, caught a taxi back to South Kaibab, and began their second crossing at 3:30. This time, they got to savor all North Kaibab has to offer. The sunrise, the box, Ribbon Falls, the views they'd missed the day before. And even when the weight of their packs pressed in and the miles added up, they kept going. Ashley described the climb from Redwall Bridge to Supai Tunnel as the hardest part of the whole 2-day effort. And she's not the first to say that. Her feet were cooked. Her heart rate was rising. But with shade, cloud cover, and sheer will, they pushed on. And they finished strong. 3:19 p.m., back at the North Rim, cheers from strangers, their 2-day R3 complete. And here are the 3 big things we'll remember. First, the canyon is not like other hikes. Ashley and her fiancé were trained, fit, and smart, and it still tested them more than they expected. There's no substitute for this kind of terrain, especially the going down first part. Second, they almost bailed after the first crossing, but food, rest, and a fresh mindset made all the difference. Sometimes the reset is what lets you finish what you started. And third, they learned to respect their pack weight. It's not just what you carry, it's whether you've trained to carry it. The canyon didn't care how many marathons they'd run, but it did reward their preparation, their grit, and their willingness to keep showing up. You've been listening to Hiking Grand Canyon, Tales from Below, brought to you by Hiken. Hiking plus kinship, that's Hiken. Every story in Tales from Below comes directly from your trip reports posted in our Hiken Grand Canyon Facebook group. Be a part of the conversation there or at our website, hiken.club. That's HIKIN.club. My name is Brian Special. Until next time, hike smart, avoid the heat, and never underestimate the canyon.
This is the Hikin' Podcast Network. Look for new episodes of the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show on Wednesdays, Tales from Below on Fridays, and hiking meditations in my separate show, Sacred Steps, on Sundays. Hikin'. Together we roam.